Well, this is weird. We have yet another non-canon MC championship after Twitch Rivals last month. The party kicks off next week, so let's discuss when it is, what the teams are, because yes, they've already been revealed. We're going to analyze them, and at the end, check out my ranking of the teams, as well as everything else we know so far about the penultimate MCC of 2023. There's tons to get through, so let's dive right in. Let's start with, what is MCC Party, and when is it? At exactly 5:30 PM GMT on Wednesday, November 1st, the official MC Championship X account, I'm so used to calling it Twitter, posted with this: "We're turning 4, so let's celebrate. Join us for MCC Party on Saturday 11th November, where we'll be hosting a massive birthday bash." There was, as usual, a similar announcement in the MCC Discord server on screen here if you want to read that too. MCC 1, where it all began, took place on Sunday, November 17th, 2019. And we have MCC Party on November 11th, 2023, almost exactly 4 years later. This event will be 3 weeks and 1 day after MCC Twitch Rivals at TwitchCon Las Vegas on Friday, October 20th. As the Discord announcement mentioned, the UK's time zone has changed from British Summertime BST to Greenwich Mean Time GMT, meaning our clocks went back exactly 1 hour. So to check if and how this affects the start time of MCC in your local area, be sure to use a time zone converter. I've linked one in the description below. But that's not all. In a strange twist which no one expected, MCC replied to this post in a thread with this: "As a special treat in your party bag, the MCC Party teams will start being announced tomorrow." To be fair though, when else were they going to be announced? If it wasn't Thursday, November 2nd and Friday, November 3rd, as was the case here, then they would have been revealed too close to the actual event date. Anyway, so we have the teams now, which is unique in that usually I go through them in a separate video, but here we are talking about the event date and its teams in the same video. But before we dive into them, the date reveal post on X showcased the MCC Party event poster, which is very different from the canon posters, which have the event number in front of a red background. This one here is split up into 3 separate sections of color, with blue in the top left, purple in the top right, and yellow at the bottom, with what looks like the sun in the middle with light rays coming off of it, and a couple MCC crowns scattered all over the place. This same background is also used as the background for all the team graphics. Speaking of which, let's now look at all the teams, and I'll give you my thoughts on them too. Starting with the Red Rabbits, with Captain Sparkles, Kara Corvus, Krinios, and Kratzy, aka the Crimson Krakens, first seen in MCC 4 and last seen all the way back in MCC 21 in April 2022. Back in their Season 1 heyday, the Krakens performed top half but never top 2 as a team, but only achieved 9th in their MCC 21 return, meaning they've never achieved dodgebot altogether. But could this be the event where they finally do it? They're now statistically the strongest team this event and are cracked at PvP and movement, so a back-to-back win for Jordan after Twitch Rivals is possible. Next up are the Orange Ocelots, made up of Orange Juice, Beckiamon, In the Littlewood, and Sneak Snack. Of course, Owen is on the orange team, and despite having the least MCC experience on this team, he's the projected top frag. The MCC Rising 1 duo of Owen and Becky joined forces with the hilarious duo of Sneak and Martin from MCC Scuffed and Block Wars 8 last weekend to create a truly chaotic team. This looks like a stacked Ace Race team, but statistically they're the top Meltdown team by over 100 coins, thanks to Owen first individual in this game. This is the 3rd time in a row Antfrost is on the yellow yaks. Joining him are Dark Eyebrows, Gucky, and CPK. We have here, folks, the highly mechanically versed duo of Antfrost and CPK, as seen in the first ever All Things MCC podcast last year. Remember those? CPK and Gucky are looking for a huge redemption opportunity after getting swept in dodgebot and Twitch Rivals by none other than Antfrost himself. As expected, insane Ace Race and Parkour Warrior team. Just imagine if Antfrost and CPK both complete the hard ending. Hermitcraft in the house, it's Cubfan, False Symmetry, Impost SV, and JoJo solos on the Lion Llamas. JoJo has literally turned into H-Bomb by trying to collect as many hermits as possible, and for this team, she's maxed it out with 3. The Cub and False duo is one of the most iconic pair-ups in MCC history. Add in Impulse, whose first event was exactly 1 year ago, where he won MCC 27 Underdogs, so in a way, this is also a special anniversary for him too. Outrageous Sands of Time team, with JoJo and Cub 1st and 3rd in this game by the averages, respectively. Grian is back on the Green Geckos. With him are good friends Smallish Bean, Solidarity, and the Orion Sound. The chemistry and vibes will be up there, as they all know each other super well from various live series shenanigans. It will be one of the less competitive teams, even though this event should overall be less competitive anyway for every team. Joel will probably have to take the leadership role here and guide the team, especially in games like Meltdown and Bingo, but Fast, which the Geckos are statistically above average in. They're also the best build mod team, which could finally be played as it's a non-canon, which would be perfect for Grian. Kicking off Day 2's team announcements were the Cyan Coyotes with Elena, EXE, Fruitberries, Hannah XX Rose, and V Gumio, featuring a crazy UHC duo of Fruit and Hannah. Very strong combat players who are a scary force in everything PvP related, which is shown in the stats as they are the strongest survival games and Sky Battle team. And while in some part that's down to Fruit's high averages, Hannah also scores 3rd in SG and Gumi 9th in Sky Battle. Hannah and Gumi popped off together in Bingo but Fast's canon return in MCC 34. In fact, the whole team is top 20 for this if you include Elena's score from Pride 23. Now we have the Aqua Axolotls featuring Ant Venom, Michael McChill, and this is like the 5th time Purple and Snifferish are teaming together. And of course, a long awaited pairing of Ant and Michael that has finally happened. They're great friends, but one thing thing they heavily disagree on is Ace Race, with Ant a heavy grinder of this on the practice server, and Michael an extreme hater to a massive extent of this game. This is actually the strongest battle box team, didn't think they were into PvP besides Purple, but Michael has been doing above average in this game recently, so fair enough to him. The Simmers return alongside Fire Breath Man. If this team looks familiar, that's because it is. It was the MCC Scuffed Purple Pandas that finished third in that event, back for another non-canon, this time on their true team color of the blue bats. Due to incredibly low scores from Vixella and Gluon, this team is statistically questionable, but as they proved in Scuff, these stats are skewed due to the two of them placing low only when with the rest of the Simmers. But with a fierce leader like Anfrost in Pride 23 and Fire Breath Man for the second time now, they can escape the dreaded bottom 10 individual spots. This is a pretty interesting team here in the Purple Pandas, consisting of H-Bomb, Ryguy Rocky, Shovel, and Red Velvet Cake. Interesting in that they'll definitely have to prove their worth against the predictions, as on paper they're definitely one of the weaker teams, but also have high potential performance ceiling, with H-Bomb leading the team, Ryguy recently crashing into the top 10 with 9th individual on MCC 32, and Red Velvet Cake capable of hitting top 15 just about, and Shovel managing top 30 in most events now. I think they could absolutely exceed their stats, especially in movement and team and communication games, such as Ace Race, but they may struggle in PvP. Finally, I present the Pink Parrots, with AIMSy, Philzel, Ranboo, and S Major. This is the culmination of way too many similar looking teams from past events, such as the MCC 20 Green Geckos, but with AIMSy instead of Captain Sparkles, and most recently the fun team up of Philzel and Ranboo in MCC 33. This team has chemistry and vibes that are comparable to the Green Geckos we saw earlier, but with a few more swear words. Where this team shine is in movement games such as Hole in the Wall and Rocket Spleef Rush, and Sands of Time being picked in the second half should be good for them too. And that's all the teams, but what else do we know so far about MCC Party? It's obviously a non-canon as it lacks an event number, making MCC 35 next month in December the final canon event of the year. It therefore follows the pattern of having a non-canon event every November, starting with All-Stars in November 2021, then Underdogs, which is technically half canon, the following year, and now Party. As we saw in MCC 12 on November 14th, 2020, which commemorated the 1-year anniversary of the championship, MCC Party could be full of colorful party decorations in the hub, just like we saw in MCC 12. Players in that event wore those little triangular birthday hats, and other cosmetic decor such as bunting and non-edible cake were thrown in all around the hub and the minigames. And expect the elevator joke this time round to revolve around the subject of MCC's birthday celebrations. But what about the games? How they work this time? Should we expect new maps, or even the return of old retired games? Let's go back to MCC 12 one more time. In the run-up to that event, the community could vote for what they wanted to see, such as the color of the slime walls in Hole in the Wall. The winning color was pink, by the way. The battle box map, Canal, was chosen, and whether to bring back Skyblock or stick to the newer Sky Battle. Obviously, Sky Battle gained more votes there. We could see the same thing next week for Party, and would be a great way to include the audience in selecting the best bits of MCC over the past 4 years that should be included. Alternatively, I could see them add every single currently active MCC minigame into the Decision Dome, just like they did in Rising 2. In that case, there'll be a whopping 14 games, of which just 8 will be played. Or what if there were just 8 or 9 games in the roster, and they're all remixes? Let me know what you think in the comments below. And that's basically everything we know so far about MCC Party. Oh, here's my current ranking of the teams, but it doesn't matter since this is just meant to be a fun and casual event. Plus, as I mentioned earlier, we have no idea how the games will work yet, but all will be revealed on the MCC Party games graphic on Wednesday, November 8th, which I'll be discussing in my next video, which will be out on the exact same day for you all to digest what to expect regarding game changes. Thanks to the Noxcrew and Smajor for everything they've done to run MCC so far, and here's to another 4 years of epic events. See ya, Minecraft champions!